They tell you that the right woman will appreciate a guy who's clearly ready for something real. That showing a woman you're ready, consistent, available, emotionally open is what separates the men who win from the boys who don't. But here's what nobody wants to say out loud. The more available you look, the less attractive you become. Every single time. I know that sounds backwards, but stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why looking single is one of the most powerful things you can do for your dating life, and more importantly, how to actually pull it off without playing games or pretending to be someone you're not. This took me years to figure out. I'll get to that story in a minute. It's kind of humiliating, but it changed everything I thought I knew about attraction. And if you want to get ahead right now, I've got a book called The Truth Detector, linked first in the description. It breaks down what she's actually thinking, whether she's using you, and when she's playing games. It's the shortcut I didn't have. But for now, let's get into this. Go ahead and drop the worst dating advice you've ever followed in the comments. I'll wait, because I guarantee it sounds like what I'm about to tear apart. Picture this. You meet a woman. The conversation flows. There's real energy. So you do everything right. You text back quickly. You make yourself available. You're genuine about your interest. And then slowly, she pulls back. The texts get shorter. The energy shifts. And you're sitting there thinking, what did I do wrong? Here's what actually happened. The moment she could feel that you were fully available, that no other world existed outside of her, the chase was over before it started. Not because she's cruel, but because human attraction doesn't run on logic. Robert Cialdini, the psychologist behind influence, basically the Bible of how humans make decisions, spent decades proving one thing: we want what we can't easily have. Scarcity creates value. Availability destroys it. So when your schedule clears instantly for her, when your mood shifts based on whether she replied, you're signaling that there's no line, no competition, no life happening without her. And her brain, whether she knows it consciously or not, files you under. Doesn't require effort. Here's the part that stings. It's not that she decided she didn't want you. It's that she never got the chance to decide she did, because you handed her the answer before she asked the question. But here's where most guys make it worse, because the obvious fix isn't actually a fix at all. It's a trap. Most guys think looking single means acting cold, going silent for 2 days, pretending you didn't see her message. And look, it seems like it works sometimes. She texts twice. She wonders what you're doing. But there's a massive difference between manufactured distance and genuine fullness. Women can feel it every time. I had a friend, smart, good looking, no business struggling with women, who had a whole system. The 3-day rule, the push-pull, all of it. And it worked short term. But every relationship fell apart within weeks. Because the second she got close enough, she realized there was nothing behind the curtain. No life, no depth. Just a guy running a script. Performance has an expiration date. But here's what actually makes a man look single in a way that matters. It's not what you withhold, it's what you actually have. When a man has genuine ambitions, real friendships, hobbies that light him up, he doesn't need to fake distance. The distance is real. His attention is genuinely divided, and that division is magnetic. There's research out of the University of Virginia on what they called uncertainty of romantic interest. Participants who were uncertain about whether someone liked them reported thinking about that person more than participants who were told clearly that the person liked them. The brain rewards uncertainty with obsession. So the moment you remove all uncertainty, the moment she knows exactly how available you are, you've accidentally switched off the very thing making her think about you. Now here's the story I promised, the embarrassing one. I was 24, talking to this woman for about 3 weeks. I was doing everything right, responding fast, remembering small details, being consistent, and then one evening she said something I've thought about 100 times since. She said, I don't know, you just feel really available. But she didn't mean it as a compliment. I sat with that word for days, available. And at first I was defensive, but eventually I stopped being defensive long enough to actually hear what she was saying. She wasn't rejecting effort, she was responding to the absence of a life. I'd cleared everything else out to focus on her, and that had accidentally told her something I never meant to say. It told her, you are my only option. Nobody wants to be someone's only option, even if they'd never admit it, because being chosen from a full life feels like an honor. Being chosen from an empty one just feels like settling. And that brings us to the thing that actually drives all of this. The difference between being needed and being wanted. Need has weight. It presses down. It turns what should feel like a choice into an obligation. And the moment something feels like an obligation, the desire drains out almost instantly. Want is completely different. Want is light. Want says, I choose you, but I don't require you. That gap between needing someone and wanting them is where attraction actually lives. The man who wants her shows up with energy. He texts because he genuinely thought of something worth sharing, not because 40 minutes of silence made him anxious. He makes plans because he wants to see her, not because he needs the reassurance that she still likes him. And she feels the difference, even if she can't name it. If you're watching this in the middle of a situation where you genuinely can't tell what she's thinking, whether she's interested or just keeping you around, that's exactly what my book The Truth Detector is built for. It's about reading what's actually happening beneath the surface. First link in the description, because looking single is only half the equation. The other half is knowing when what you're building is even real to begin with. Because here's the counterintuitive part nobody warns you about. Sometimes pulling back makes things worse, not better. And understanding why is what separates the men who get this right from the ones who keep getting burned by the same situation. Sometimes pulling back makes things worse, and the guys who've experienced this know exactly what I mean. You sense her pulling away, you go quiet, you stop initiating, and instead of chasing, she just leaves. Like the distance confirmed something she was already thinking. Here's why. Pulling back only creates attraction when there's already something worth pulling back from. When there's already chemistry, already investment, distance adds tension to something that already has heat. But if she was already lukewarm, pulling back doesn't create tension. It just removes the last bit of warmth. And she moves on without a second thought. This is why looking single isn't something you deploy mid-situation to save a failing connection. It's something you carry into every interaction from the beginning. It's a posture, not a play. Think about two men walking into the same party. The first man walks in scanning the room. He gravitates toward the first woman who gives him attention and stays in her orbit all night. By the end of the evening, she knows she has him. The second man walks in with somewhere to be inside his own mind. He talks to several people, has real opinions, pushes back lightly when he disagrees. At some point, something pulls his attention elsewhere, a friend across the room, and he excuses himself naturally. Not rudely, just genuinely. Now she's watching him talk to someone else, and something shifts. That shift isn't manufactured. He didn't plan it. He just had a life genuinely bigger than any single person in the room. And that bigness made him magnetic in a way the first man, despite being equally attractive, completely failed to achieve. So practically, what does this look like on a regular Tuesday when she texts and you feel that pull to respond immediately and perfectly? Your response time should reflect your actual life, not your anxiety. If you're genuinely busy, finish what you're doing. Not to seem busy, because you actually are. And if you're not genuinely busy, the work isn't in your phone. It's in building a life that makes you busy naturally. When you make plans, have an actual schedule. Let her fit into your week rather than building your week around her. That's not cruelty, that's self-respect. And self-respect reads as attractive every single time. And stop narrating your feelings so early. Most men, when they feel something real, feel this urgent need to announce it, to make sure she knows. But that early declaration, laying all your cards face up before the game has even started, is exactly what kills the mystery that was making her think about you in the first place. Let her wonder a little. Wonder creates curiosity, and curiosity creates the kind of investment that makes her actually want to find out. Here's what I want you to sit with. Think about the woman who actually had you, the one you still think about more than you should. What was it about her that made her so hard to forget? Was it that she was completely available? That you always knew exactly where you stood? Or was it that she had something, some part of her life that existed completely independently of you, some quality that made you feel like you had to earn her rather than just receive her? You already know what this feels like from the other side. You felt it pull you in. You know how real it is. The only question is whether you're going to become that for someone else, not by performing it, but by actually building a life so full and so genuinely yours that the fullness speaks for itself. Because a woman doesn't fall for a man who needs her. She falls for a man who chose her, the man who needs her hands her the remote control to his self-worth, and she can feel the weight of that remote every time they interact. It's exhausting to hold. So eventually, she puts it down. The man who chose her was already moving before she arrived. She made his life better, but she didn't make it. And a woman wants to add to a life, not become responsible for one. So the work always starts with you, not with her, not with the situation, not with the right text to send. It starts with an honest question. What does my life actually look like when I remove her from it? What's left? If that answer makes you uncomfortable, good. That discomfort is pointing directly at what needs building. And if right now you're in a situation where you genuinely can't tell what's real, whether she sees a future or just a placeholder, whether what you're building is genuine or one-sided, check out the Truth Detector. First link in the description, because the clearer you are about what's real, the faster you stop pouring energy into the wrong places and start putting it exactly where it belongs. Looking single was never really about looking single at all. It was always about being so absorbed in your own life that single, taken, somewhere in between, none of it changes who you are at your core. You don't become magnetic by making her the center of your universe. You become magnetic by having a universe worth entering. But YouTube thinks you'll really enjoy this video over here. So click on it and I'll see you there.